The good old days of game demos. I remember back once if you bought a large piece from Pizza Hut, they gave you a demo of a PlayStation 1 game to play. I remember those times fondly because you played the demo of a certain said game and it made you decide whether or not you're going to buy the game when it eventually came out. Plus, getting a demo cost next to nothing to achieve unless you had a gaming magazine subscription or you bought the game from Pizza Hut. Now, since those times, the game demos have almost faded into oblivion during this generation of consoles, which led me to think if Bioshock Infinite had released a short single-player demo just like its predecessor, because some of the problems could have been fixed. Now, in some cases, yes, some aspects of the game wouldn't have been changed, such as how many weapons the player could hold, how many salt and health packs couldn't have been held as well. And now in the aspects of story, that wouldn't have been savable because the job of a demo is to show the mechanics of said game. Bioshock showed the player if they were put into a scary situation to where they were trapped under the sea with no way out, how would they survive? Thus, the game gave you an arsenal of weapons to help you plan which way you were going to take on each situation. I feel like ever since game demos have been gradually removed from the gaming community, publishers are letting developers put these unfinished games on the market, which in cost pisses us gamers off to the point where we realize we wasted $5 on a pre-order, $60 on a game, and an extra $40 on the season pass if we choose to get it. Thus, the reason why I think publishers remove demos from the equation entirely, because it would kill them on their launch day sales badly. Look at it this way. If Bioshock Infinite had a demo just like its predecessor, do you think it wouldn't have sold so well at launch? I think it wouldn't. Because the demo wouldn't have shown a lot of the broken mechanics the game had, which then would make buyers not want to invest their money, which in the end result, now the launch day sales wouldn't have been strongly affected. So by showing us these cinematic trailers, brief showing of games, and all these alphas at E3, they want us to take a leap of faith and hope that the game pleases us. And if it doesn't, well, too bad. You just spent your $63 for the year. Better luck next year. So then, this is what I suggest to all gamers anywhere. Just overall, when it comes to these games, period. Don't sit up and just throw your money at them, because as we already seen with half these games that have came out so far nearing the end of the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 lifetime, publishers are making these developers cut corners on these games, and which can cause games are unfinished, games are not all the way playable, and thus we are pissed that we don't receive the content that we were promised at the E3 before or doing throughout that part of the year when they were announcing the game. And that's one thing I don't get that gamers don't seem to understand. PC Enthusiast says it's console's fault that the reason why the gaming industry was all messed up. The gaming industry wouldn't have been messed up anyway, even without consoles, because you got publishers such as Microsoft, Sony, Activision, EA running the show. They're in the game to make money. They're not trying to make games to make a good stream. They're trying to figure out how to make games to cut costs so they can sit up and make bank every year. And whether it been on consoles or on PC, a bad game is a bad game. Don't matter what platform you play it on. Don't matter how many frames per second or how many resolutions you got it at it. If the mechanics in the game is broken as hell, it doesn't matter how good the game runs. If the mechanics are still broken, you got a broken game. Just period. And thus, what made me think if demos were still around, like back in the old days, a lot of the shit we had with a lot of these games wouldn't have happened, because a lot of people wouldn't have had a lot of a heads up on knowing what they're going to invest their money into later on the year. That's why I don't understand why people think it's okay for every year at E3 for these developers or publishers, I want to say publishers, because developers are only doing what Microsoft, Sony, Activision, and EA are telling them to do. I don't like it how people are every year allowing them to show all these cinematic trailers, all these fucking alphas and shit, instead of showing us cold, hard, in-game gameplay, or sitting up allowing us to sit up and play demos of them on our Xboxes, because they want us every year to take a leap of faith to hope that the game pleases us, and if it doesn't, we already invested our $63 for that set year for that set company, and they're basically telling us good luck again next year. It's like playing the lottery until you eventually hit it, until you keep playing games from set publisher until they finally make the right game with the right set of mechanics and the right storyline that finally pleases you. This is getting tiring, gamers. We need to stop it with this whole PC enthusiast shit and with all these console fanboy bullshit. We are all on the same damn team when it comes down to the end of the day. Whether which side you on, we all are still getting shitty games at the end of the day because Microsoft, Sony, Activision, EA are all laughing their asses off as we all sitting up a squabble amongst each other that's not going to help nothing. So my advice to all you guys out there, get your shit straight and start fighting the good fight. Because as we can now see, we're losing the fight against when it comes to these games. Because they're still making shitty games every year and nothing's not changing. So get your shit straight.